Oh, yeah, that's still hot. Hey there, legends. I'm just out here to go through a list of my mods and what I did like, what I didn't like, and maybe some tips and tricks that I can help you out with, because I've had a few people ask me questions and this is the easiest way to answer them. So let's go. So the first mod that I did was actually kind of forced, because the stock handguards that come with them are really just, honestly, they're the worst. They didn't hold up to anything. They actually, as soon as I dropped it, I literally dropped it at a standstill in sand, and it broke my clutch lever. So I was up for $100 literally just for this blade. So I just removed them. Now you can get aftermarket bark busters, and they're super strong, and they'll help your bike heaps. I have been meaning to get some bark busters, but I also kind of just like the clean look of the bars without them. And I don't do all that much gnarly shit. Even though I have jumped it a couple of times. And so moving along to the mirrors, I did a lot of research. I found these really nice Kelpi Customs mirrors. So these are like a bar end mirror, so they're designed to clamp on the end of your bar. And so basically you've got two options. One, you actually pull this nut out here, and then you insert the piece that they come on, and then tighten it back up, and it can go inside here. That's if you want to keep your bark busters, but because I removed mine, I just clamped it on here, because there's a little bit of room between your throttle and the end of the bar there, so you can put them on there. But basically these have been unreal and stronger than the stock bark busters, or sorry, hand guards they call them. But basically I dropped this bike about a month and a bit ago, with the full force of it onto this mirror right here, and you know, look at it, it's perfectly fine and works just fine. You know, that was it. It was literally the engine guards and the mirror that took the full force of the bike. When it landed, I just picked it back up. I had a little bit of a stuck throttle, but that was only because I got some dirt wedged in the throttle. So, you know, maybe bark busters would be better, but, you know, I'm pretty happy with how they came out. Okay, so the next mod that I want to talk about is my Kelpi Customs indicators. So you can see them there, they're really small, and they don't look that bright, and then you get back a little further and they are just very bright. So don't be worried about the size of them, they are very powerful for how big they are. And I really like the nice clean finish you get. They look really great, and as you can see, plenty of brightness still at the back there. Let's move on to the next mod. So this is just the normal cat header in with slash cut exhaust pipes, and you can see in the back there maybe that it's basically got baffles in it. So there's a fair few things to watch out for when you're changing your exhaust. A lot of people have talked to me about the heat. Now, yes, it's hot. This has been off for about 5 minutes and I can put my hand on there. This area here is the really bad part. That's usually where your leg goes, just down here, and your thigh sits like there. So you're getting the heat from the cylinder head and also the heat from your exhaust. And that's probably why most people are having so much trouble with it. Now, this is just how I did it, and I actually bought a Decat, and it cooled it down heaps, but I wanted to go with the slash cut exhaust. And to be able to do that, you still need to have a cat in there, because what the cat does is provides back pressure. So I put my cat back in there and then just sold my Free Spirits Decat, and then just put on these slash cut exhausts, and I reckon they look awesome and they sound unreal. So I'll just put a really quick clip in shortly so you can actually hear the bike as it's going past, and then also as I'm riding, so that you can get an idea of what it sounds like, because it is just the best sounding bike ever, in my opinion. So the next mod that I want to talk about is actually my Hepco and Becker side bag. Now this thing is awesome. It actually comes with a key, and so all you have to do is mount the rail on it first, get the key right, and you can pull the bag off. And then it just leaves this nice little, it's called a SIBO. And I reckon it looks great. You know, it's not like a massive big luggage rail that stays on your bike, so I really like the look of it. Also with the Hepco and Becker bag, it just has plenty of space, plenty of room. I've got a couple of tools in the front, and then it actually fits my entire drone. So I just chuck my drone bag in there, which is pretty big, and then I don't have to carry it on my back, and then I've got room for all the other junk that I carry around. Okay, so on to the next mod. The next mod that I want to talk about is actually the crash bars and the bedliner paint that I've put on it. So as you can see, the bedliner's kind of like a gritty finish. You know, it doesn't look amazing and, you know, like glossy and that sort of stuff, but I actually kind of like the matte tones on this bike, so I think it works okay. The one thing I will say is you need to leave time to cure the actual paint, because it takes like a week to actually fully harden. So, you know, if you want it to harden properly, give it a full week before you actually put it on the bike, otherwise you'll get little chips and stuff. But, you know, if you don't like it, take it off or don't even do it. It's up to you. It's just one thing that I think helps protect a lot of the places where like my boots wear on this guard. Now I wish I could have something for this, because this is actually starting to get scratched up from my adventure boots. But you know, it's covering most of the things that take a lot of wear and tear, and I actually ended up doing my bash plate as well. So you can see that here, and yeah, it's come up great, I think. So the next mod that I did was actually the air filter, which was a DNA air filter. You can just order them online, just make sure you get the right one. But basically you can remove this cover really easily, and there's a couple of bolts in here just to remove these. You'll have to unplug some of these fuses just from the back here. Just make sure they keep plugged into the cables, and then you'll be able to get access to in the air box where the air filter sits, and just literally undo a clip, pull it out, put the new one in, and Bob's your mother's brother. So that's like a super easy really good little upgrade. You won't notice it heaps with your performance, but you know, you might find it a bit better in terms of having how many times you have to clean your air filter and the life and longevity of that. So yeah, all right, on to the next one. So the next one's kind of hard to see, but up under your side cover you've actually got this OBD connector, and you can get cheap ones of these online that are Bluetooth and connect them to an Android device. But basically you just tell DNK Tune Works what mods you've done to your bike, and then they send you back relatively, you know, it's kind of custom, kind of I wouldn't say generic, but you know, it's a different tune and it solves a few problems. One of them is the throttle cutting out and stalling the bike, which I've had ever since I bought the bike with like actually I had like 2 kilometers on it. And then it also makes the throttle more responsive. And then, you know, on sport mode and off-road pro, this thing is a weapon now. So it is so much faster. And you've just got to be careful when you do get the tune. So make sure you don't go too fast because it is really easy to do. And I would highly recommend that as one of the early mods that you get, just because it also increases engine life, you know. Well, it should increase engine life because the engine's running at a more stable tune, especially if you're going to do any things like modding the exhausts and things like that. So highly recommend that mod. So the next one I'd recommend doing actually quite early, just because if you're going to go off-road, you need an off-road tyre. I actually got these Metzeler Karoo 3s. They are really soft. You can probably see all the chunks I've ripped out of them, but I haven't necessarily been super nice to them. So yeah, I've been really flooring it off-road and it just tears off the chunks. So if you're looking for a tyre that grips on the dirt, these are great. But if you're looking for longevity in your tyre, it's just a trade-off. You've just got to basically take the good with the bad there. Yeah, you can see my front tyre is actually fine, really, because I've been doing so many skids. Not skids, but, you know, just having fun off-road. So, yeah, just keep that in mind. And, yeah, if you want to take it off-road, I'd highly recommend upgrading from those stock tyres because they're great on-road, they're okay off-road, and then if you throw any wet at them off-road, they're not made for it. So they shouldn't be good, and they're not. So that brings us to the end of my mods video. What I wanted to do was share with you some of the things that I've learned. Hopefully you can avoid some of the problems that I've had. Now I will say I take my bike off-road quite a bit. Probably 50-50, maybe even 60% off-road, 40% on-road. So these mods, some of them will be more important for those that want to take it off-road, but also, you know, I hope that there's some information in there for everybody that wants to find out about their Scrambler. So if you like this video, just like and subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you for the next one.